Want help to grow your business? Download BRiN, the world's first business advisor in your pocket. To find out more, visit BRiN.ai or search the App Store today.
Hi, I'm Pip McKay and welcome to Evolve Now, where we look at the mindset and emotional intelligence to create success and happiness. And today we're going to be covering the 8 principles of achievement, love and happiness. So what we're going to be covering is what is the secret to energy and how to overcome lethargy. We're going to look at how to increase concentration so you can focus, why receptivity stops you pushing away success and love, what creativity really is and how you can think outside of the box, how to get organised to increase productivity, what intuition is and how it helps you make decisions, how to discern so you can have real love and friendship, and finally, how you can improve your results so you can get more of what you want in your life. So we've got a lot to cover in a short period of time. So let's get started. I think one of the interesting things about achievement is just what does achievement mean to you? And I think for a lot of people in the 80s and 90s, achievement really meant just getting as much money as you could at all costs. And what happened for a lot of people was that wasn't really working for them. So they would find that maybe they didn't achieve that financial goal and then they felt kind of like a failure. Or they felt like they had achieved the goal, but somehow they felt unfulfilled. And maybe their relationships broke down in the achievement of that goal. So then what happened is in the early 2000s, people went, well, that's it. I am just going to follow my passion and purpose. I don't care about my financial goals. And what happened for a lot of people was then they didn't make any money. And one of the things that's a problem with passion and purpose is if you can't make any money from it, there comes a point where financial stress means that you don't feel so passionate about your passion and purpose anymore. So it's really now, I think, come to a time where there's a complete paradigm shift. And what people want to do is they want to do something that they love, but they want that to bring in the financial income that gives them a really fantastic lifestyle and allows them to do all the sort of things that they want to do, such as travel and have a great time. And I know that this was very much what happened for me. So I found that early on when I wanted to set up my own business, it was really important for me that I did my passion and purpose, because if I don't feel very motivated. But it was also really important that I could have my business financially support me, because otherwise I'd have to do a job on the side, and that doesn't really allow you to focus on what it is that you really love to do. So using these 8 principles of passion and of achievement, I was able to then really make sure that I was able to do what I love and make the income that gave me the sort of lifestyle that I wanted and to have the sort of fun that you have when you're traveling. Because after all, even when you do your passion and purpose, you still need a break from it. You still need to recharge your batteries and go on holiday. So let's have a little look at the sort of areas of a person's life that achievement is important in, because it's not just in career. We also want to have achievement with our family and with our children. For a lot of people in a particular point in their life, this is actually the most important area for them. And then we want to be able to have achievement in our relationships. We want to have successful relationships. Also personal growth and perhaps spirituality. So that's having a sense of our passion and purpose and where we're going and feeling like we're really fulfilling our potential and the reason why we're here on earth. And then there's health and fitness. So feeling like you've got your health is also an area of achievement. And then, of course, as we spoke about before, money. So this is a typical wheel of life. And I think that at any one point in time, you can really only focus on 3. But in a life, if we really want to think that our life is one full of achievement and success and happiness, we do really need to be able to cover all of these areas. And at different stages of life, different ones of them will be more important to us than at other stages. So let's look at, considering that this is the common areas of life people talk about in personal development, let's look at how this might be a little bit different. So I think what I love about the 8 principles of achievement, love and happiness is that they really cover all these 4 archetypal areas. And that is our emotions, because it's important that we feel emotionally happy. And then there's our intellect. I think it's important that our beliefs support our happiness. I think it's important that we also are stimulated intellectually. And then physically, it's really important that we look after our physical body. There is a certain amount of achievement you can do when you don't have good health. You know, if you're really inspired by something, you can do it even if you don't have a lot of energy, because the inspiration carries you along. And we'll talk about this more later. But if you're going to sustain success, you really need to make sure that your body is able to keep up with your ideas. And then finally, something spiritual. Now, this doesn't have to be anything religious. It's just a sense that there's something greater than us, that there's a potential we want to fulfill, that there's a passion and purpose to our life, that we have a reason for being here, and that we have greater meaning in our life. And what I love about the 8 principles is they cover all of these 4 areas. And I think all of these 4 areas are really important if we're going to be achieving and be happy whilst we're achieving. So let's look at the very first principle. And the very first principle, if you're going to achieve something, and you need to do this first, is you need to have energy. If you don't have energy, you simply can't begin on your journey. And there's a secret to energy that a lot of people don't understand. So a lot of people look at kids and they go, "Oh, I wish I had the energy that those little kids had." But you watch a little kid when you're asking them to do something they don't want to do, and you'll notice that they don't have a lot of energy. You'll see them dragging their feet. I think Shakespeare has a famous quote about kids going to love like schoolboys from their books, and moving away from love like schoolboys to their books. And I think that's really, really true. So that brings us to what the secret is of inspiration. And inspiration is what gives us energy. So have a think about it for a moment. Maybe you didn't have a very good day at work and you come home and you're so tired. And then say all of a sudden, someone calls you who's a new love interest and they ask you out. Have you noticed that all of a sudden you're going to have a huge amount of energy, you're going to rush around, get excited, get dressed, and then you go out and you're like, wow, I feel really energized and excited. So it's interesting because the only difference between being tired before and suddenly having a lot of energy is being inspired. And it's the same at work. You might find in your business that you're a bit bored with your business, and then all of a sudden you come up with a new idea of something exciting that you want to do in your business, and suddenly you're staying up all night whilst you get it organised. Or if you think about a holiday that you want to plan, suddenly you're inspired and you've got a lot of energy. So for this kind of instant energy, the secret really is inspiration. So you might want to think about that in your life. If you don't have a lot of energy, think about whether what you're doing is what you really want to be doing. Or think about whether you might need to start doing something new or different to be inspired. I had this in my own business where I was feeling a little bit like, okay, I've been repeating the same courses for a little while. I'm, starting to lose a little bit of energy. And then I decided to take a group to France in search of the Holy Grail. And I tell you what, that gave me a lot of energy. And we took that group to France just recently, and it was a really exciting trip. Now, some people kind of embody this concept of energy. And we call those people innocent adventurers. They do have that childlike desire to begin new things, to go on exciting adventures. And they have that kind of innocence where they're not really thinking about all the consequences of everything they're doing. They just kind of jump off. So we've got a picture here that kind of symbolizes that. And we call that picture that symbolizes this principle an archetype. Now, there are some people who are just like innocent adventurers who have been very, very successful in business. And one of them, of course, is Richard Branson. And you can really see that Richard Branson embodies this childlike concept of the innocent adventurer. He's always doing new and exciting things. He's often doing things that other people would find impossible. He's got a lot of energy, and he's still got a big smile on his face even as he gets a little bit older. And his business is called Virgin, so we can see his brand is very much like, I think that's the most innocent adventure thing you can do, to have that virgin concept, something brand new and pure. And we know that he took a lot of risks when he did Virgin Airlines, but we can really get that sense of flying. So just for a moment now, and even at home, just think of standing up and going flying, or being inspired by something, or somebody who gave you, who you heard speaking, who really inspired you, and you felt a lot of energy, and have that almost Peter Pan sense of flying, and you'll have a sense of what gives us energy. Now, before we start anything, as I said before, we need to have the energy or we can't begin in terms of achievement. So let's look now at the second principle. And the second principle is that of concentration. Now, in order to concentrate, you need to focus. So basically, you need to cut away everything that is distracting and focus really on what it is that you want. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't have a number of projects on at one time. But if you find that the number of projects you're doing is taking you away from really focusing on one, and you're not getting a result in that one area, you do need to cut away other things. I remember talking to Dale Beaumont, the creator, of course, of Business Blueprint and this TV channel, and he said to me once that he'd had a business proposal that might have brought him in a couple of $100,000, and it was tempting to start to involve himself in that. But he thought to himself, will that bring me closer to my goal, or will it take me further away? And when he realized it would take him further away, he decided to refuse that business opportunity so he could focus all his attention on what it was he wanted to do. And he said that $200,000 could have cost him $1 million because of the lack of focus. And I think this is a really important thing. We have all this energy, all this potential, but we need to pick one thing at a time and focus on that until we get a result. Now, you may feel like this principle seems quite familiar, because if you've seen anything of The Secret, it is principles does have a law that corresponds. So this is the law of attraction, but I think sometimes people got the wrong concept with The Secret, where they felt like if they just concentrated on something and didn't do anything else, that it would magically appear. But the fact is that it is the first step. We do need to know what we want and focus on it if we're going to achieve something, but it's not the only step. We definitely need to have all the other 7 steps in the principles, the 8 principles, in order to truly achieve success. Now, when we do focus on something that we want, and we really pay attention to that, and we put in a lot of work to develop skills and expertise in that area, it does become like magic to other people. It's not magic to us because we know the time and effort it took to put in that expertise. But people do start to call on us. People do start to want to connect with us because they know that we're an expert in this area. And for those people who haven't put that sort of work into developing that skill, they might go, oh wow, that just appeared out of nowhere. But remember, a magician knows the effort it takes to make his magic tricks happen. And he's put a lot of focus and attention on that. To the audience, it looks like magic, but to the person, they know it's their craft that they've been dealing with. So we do call this archetype the magician. And let's have a look at a very famous magician, and that is Walt Disney. Now, can you imagine Walt Disney going to the bank and him saying, look, I've got this great idea and it's going to make billions of dollars. What I'm going to do is get a drawing of a mouse. And I'm going to get that drawing to move, and it's going to talk, and people are going to spend a lot of money on it.
To continue enjoying this presentation, download BRiN, the world's first business advisor in your pocket. To find out more, visit BRiN.ai or search the App Store today.